In order to start this off right, I'd like to present my brother with these flowers virtually. And
Right.
I want you to know that we're all part of these flowers for you. And it's always a gift for me to be able to make this introduction. And wow, I want you guys to know that I met a lot of yoga teachers in my travels for 40 years. And my teacher passed away a few years back, and I was in the Peace Corps for 30 years. But right now, I don't see any other teacher that I inspires me more than this man. He, on all fronts, is an example, and my teacher told me to be an example, and that's what he is. He's an example as a yoga teacher, a guru, a father, an inspiration, a leader in his country, an MD, Ayurveda, and a master musician. I don't know if there's anything else we can do, and that's why I always ask him, "When do you sleep?" And so we didn't get to see all of your video. We got to see a lot of it. So I'd like to welcome my dear brother, Ananda Ji, and then Heather. Can we do anything about that sound when he comes on? There we go. All right, brother. I think we should be able to hear you clearly now. And I want to open up the floor to people that have questions about what they've seen on your video. That'll get things started. So,
If before that I could just say a few words, Larry.
oh no.
Oh,
Please do, brother. And this is
I
your
get
time, however you want to spend it.
the oh no response and the oh my god response a lot, so no issues. Thank you so much, Larry. First of all, always a privilege to be with you and your team. Um, for me, when I think of yoga in North America, I think the first person and sometimes the only person who comes up in my mind is my dear Larry, because the example you have been the sparkling example, not just an example, you have been a sparkling, shining example of what it is to be someone who represents yoga. Often we forget, we think, oh, I'm practicing yoga, I am teaching yoga, I am doing yoga therapy. We get stuck in a bit of stuff and we forget that we need to be living examples of the teachings if the teachings are to manifest through us. Because it's not about you learning something and teaching it. That is the issue that people have. They think, oh, I learned something and then I'm going to go out and teach it. It's not about that. It's about you becoming the teachings. And I think that is why for me, Larry, you are always special. You are always very, very special. And through Larry, I've got to know some amazing, amazing people. I tell you, the list of amazing people you have brought into my life is also amazing.
They have
And
to be amazing to be with you, brother.
the last few times the poly training has been going on, Larry has been kind enough to give me an opportunity to meet people. And I think that is very important because I am very much a people person. It sounds funny, but people person, because for me, interacting with other human beings at multiple levels, I think gives the greatest fulfillment. When you interact with human beings at multiple levels, we often get stuck at only the physical interaction. And this pandemic, which we are still in the second wave in India, and things are getting better, but we are struggling. The pandemic has taught us that even if physically you cannot be in contact with people, the online Zoom womb, my students call it the Zoom womb, You are in the womb of the Zoom, and it can actually bring you close with a lot of people. And over the past 18 months, I've had more interaction, many of those interactions deeper than I could have had physically with people. So it's been a big, steep learning curve. And to have the opportunity to interact with human beings at multiple levels, because we are a multi-dimensional being. We are a multi-dimensional being. And we must not forget that. As a medical doctor, I'm often faced with colleagues who reduce this multi-dimensional human being to just the physical. And then we don't know why we are not able to help people. You say, I have used the best technology, I have done all the standard protocols, I have followed the World Health Organization protocol, I have done this, I've used the latest medical knowledge. And at the end of the day, you realize you haven't helped the person. And the reason is you have been looking at a single dimension. We need to expand our perspective from single dimensional perspective, even two-dimensional perspective, to a nine-dimensional. It is said there are 9 dimensions in which we need to understand each other. So, with just a few words of introduction there, that when I interact with all of you, I am not just looking at you as a person on the screen. You are not just someone on the screen for me. You are a living, thriving, feeling, amazing human being. And you're not just a human being, you are a divine being having a human existence. And when I can have the gratitude to you for being you, when I can have the gratitude to the universe for having brought you into my life, with that gratitude, which is the highest attitude, with the humility and the openness, we start to connect so deeply with each other. And the connectivity between human beings is of paramount importance, especially now, more than it has ever been. Without connectivity, and I'm not talking of the Zoom gods, who I always say, Om Zoom Godaya Namaha. I pray to the Zoom gods to keep the connection stable. And because whenever I say something which is a bit outlandish, they just cut my line. They're like, Dr. Ananda, you're not to be saying all these secrets to people. And so they just cut the line. My students laugh at it because normally when I'm speaking, normal things, nothing happens. And then I say something which is, maybe it comes from someplace else. And suddenly the Zoom gods are like, boom. So propitiating the Zoom gods so that we all have beautiful connectivity. Connecting physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually. And the most important connection, heart to heart connection. Can we understand the other person as a manifestation of the divine, universal, natural forces? Can we understand the other person and respect them for being themselves? In that moment of humility, in that moment of gratitude, we grow and we enable the other person to also grow. Such an important part of being human. So with those words, I'll give over the floor to all of you, and you can fire away anything under the sun that you want. And if I know something, I'll say it. And if I don't know, I'll say I don't.
All right, everyone, here's your chance.
Thank you for that beautiful exercise. I am very grateful. I loved that and how it just flowed. It was effortless and incorporating the pranayama was beautiful. Thank you very much for that.
Sharon is next. And think about any questions you may have for.
I have a question.
Okay.
I know my name isn't Sharon. My name is Rena. Hi. You really speak to us and to the public on YouTube. It's amazing. And right now you're so authentic. I see that it's all true. You know, your practice is shining through you. The thing that I'm curious about in your, I don't know which religion you practice, but you know, it comes up a lot, karma, and you know, and working through it and all that, you know. It's not my religion, but I'm very interested in it. Reincarnation, all that, you know, whatever you can share. I'm all ears.
Thank you for bringing up a question that is very close to my heart. And over the last month, I have struggled with that question myself. And the reason I have struggled is I have seen so many of my close associates fall prey to COVID-19.
Oh,
I have seen families devastated. I have seen social structures falling apart. And when I see that, I start to question, is there God? I start to question, is there something in this universe? Because why is all of this happening?
Yes.
And people I know who have lived good lives, why are they being taken away when they are at the height of their productivity for the sake of humanity? So even as I address this question, I put forth the caveat that this is something which is so big that we may not have the perspective yet to understand it completely. Let's put it this way. When we do a chemistry practical session, we put different chemicals together. These chemicals interact with each other and a byproduct is produced. And so you have the left side of the chemical reaction producing the right side of the chemical reaction with a catalyst, and you have a product and often many byproducts. So what you have put into the mix comes out not in the way you have put it in, but as another product often. A simple example, hydrogen and oxygen, two gases. Hydrogen and oxygen are two gases. You put them together and out comes water, a liquid. So it's not that two gases are going to produce another gas, because hydrogen and oxygen have produced water, a liquid. You cannot drink oxygen and hydrogen, but you can drink water. So life is like that.
Yeah.
So we say, I didn't put in liquid. Why am I getting a liquid out? Well, the mix interacts in ways that is often very mysterious. And I think for us to open our heart, our eyes, our ears, sometimes even our soul, we have to open ourselves completely to say, there is a bigger perspective which we, in our limited vision, may not be able to understand right now, but later on, in hindsight, may be able to learn from it. And if we look, all of us are at an age where we can look back and say, well, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, we did things, and those things have created other things. One of the simplest examples is the children we create. Okay? So institutions we create, businesses we create, and most often than not, the problems we create. We often are creating a lot of stuff because what do we put into the mix? So when we talk about karma, people tend to negate it by saying, oh, it doesn't exist because good people also suffer. Or they go to the other extent and say, it's all my karma and I'm suffering. I am yet to hear people use it in a positive way. Most of the time you hear people, whenever something goes wrong, they say, oh, it's my karma. When they are succeeding and at their zenith, the peak of their life, they don't say, oh, it's my karma. They say, it's me. It's all me when I'm succeeding, but when I fail, it's my karma. So karma has become sort of the boogeyman for so many people. It has become the excuse, the sacrificial goat on the altar of our egotistic tendencies. Now, what karma actually is simple cause and effect. Kar means to do. Kar means to do. Ma means me. So karma means my doing. That is the actual root of karma. Karma means my doing, and as the result of my doing, the repercussions that come back are also called karma. So I say karma is my doing and my undoing. So if you understand karma as my doing and my undoing, to prevent my undoings, I need to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So karma is what I do. So what I think, what I say, and what I do, all of it is karma. And because of what I think, because of what I say, and because of what I do, I have to bear the consequences, positive, negative, or neutral. Patanjali says there are 3 types of karma. Triveda, he says there are 3 types. But he says for the yogi, they outgrow karma. They say, oh, is there a way out? Yes, there's a way out. What is the way out? Live something called dharma. Dharma is living your purpose. Dharma means the purpose. Ma means mine. So karma is what I do. Dharma is what I am supposed to do. So I'm giving you 2 words here. Karma is what I do. Dharma is what I'm supposed to do. And when dharma and karma align, you have neutralized them. So when I live my purpose, my dharma, I am not creating any karma. But when I deviate from the purpose for which I have been born, I create karma. And so I have come to a very simple equation here. Dharma is the antidote to karma that has manifest. And dharma is the vaccine against karma that is yet to manifest. We are all talking of vaccines. So the vaccine against karma is to live your dharma. And this is why in Indian culture, which lives what is called Sanatana Dharma, the eternal life, the eternal living in tune with your purpose. Imagine what a beautiful elevated state of, you could call it utopian consciousness, where you are living the purpose for which you are born. Now, most people say, I don't know why I'm born. And that's why yoga comes into our life. We don't start yoga. Yoga comes into our life. People think that, oh, I signed up for the yoga class and, I signed up for this training for Larry. No, no, no. Yoga has come into your life. That is why you are here. Yoga has to come into our life. It is the grace of yoga. For me, yoga is my mother. So it is the Divine Mother's grace that comes into my life, enabling me to grow and understand my very purpose of existence, which is my dharma. The more I understand the purpose of my existence, the more I can choose to live in tune with it, which is to fulfill my dharma. And the more I align with my dharma, the less I am creating karma every moment.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Wow.
So I hope that gives you a different perspective on this, because I have got tired of people going around, oh, it's my karma. I'm like, it's not your karma. In that way, it's not God striking you down with a lightning bolt. No, it's about living a life of purpose. What is the purpose of life? The purpose of life is to live a life of purpose. Living a life of purpose is to be aligned with our dharma. Hope that 2 cents of Ananda helps a seed to flower in you.
Oh, definitely. And I hope that I can find out about your writings, if you have writings, or more YouTubes, if you want me to.
You've got about 100 things on YouTube under his name, literally 100.
Oh my God.
Actually, it's got
You,
updated during the pandemic.
yeah,
Currently, my YouTube account has about 1,000 videos that are free download, no
1,000.
payment. Yeah, now it's about 1,000.
Oh, oh.
And you
Amazing.
can search on academia and you get about 300 of my academic publications on academia for free. You can download them. It's on ResearchGate, and about 170 plus PowerPoint presentations for free download on SlideShare. You just type in Bhavanani Yoga, it will all come up. And all of it is free because I believe in copy left, not copyright.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my God.
So inspiring.
All right. Now, just to try and get Sharon, you had a question right away, so I want to make sure you get to ask a question. Sharon Heist.
Thank you. I was wondering, I just made a quick scan of some of your articles, and I was wondering if you would comment on what kind of results you have seen with heart issues, and have you worked with any atrial fibrillation issues? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. In the last 20, now it's about 22 years, last 22 years of yoga research in medical institutions, which has been my main contribution, has been being a living bridge between modern medicine and yoga. We have done a huge amount of research on normal physiological aspects of the heart as well as the pathological disorders of the heart. We have looked at hypertension, we have looked at atrial fibrillation, we have looked at what we call ventricular ectopics. These are abnormal impulses that the heart suddenly out of nowhere generates. We have looked at coronary artery disease, and we have looked a lot at diabetes, which is a major contributor to heart disease. And we have looked at insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is one of the main derangements that lies behind all the non-communicable diseases today. You talk of heart disease, you talk of metabolic syndrome, syndrome X, you talk of hypertension, coronary artery disease, you talk of cancer, you talk of any non-communicable disease. The top 5 causes of death are NCDs. And COVID is nowhere close to it in that way. So I'm just putting it in perspective. So when we have looked at this, we have found that yoga practices, especially the breathing practices, pranayama, they are the most effective non-pharmacological tools to normalize blood pressure. So if you want to normalize blood pressure without drugs, the best is pranayama. And we have looked at left nostril breathing, where you close the right nostril and you just breathe in and out through the left nostril 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes before lunch, 5 minutes before you go to bed, 3 times or 4 times a day. And it's astonishing, by the end of the first week, the blood pressure normalizes in most of our subjects that we have researched. We have done slow deep breathing at the rate of 6 breaths per minute. The formula is 6 per minute. Remember, that is the formula. It doesn't matter whether you breathe through both nostrils or uninostril. 6 per minute is the magic formula, because when you breathe at the rate 6 per minute, which is basically 5 seconds inhalation, 5 seconds exhalation, most people can do it. Most of our patients in the hospital, clients coming to us, I have worked with more than 100,000 clients in the last 20 years, and everyone can do breathe in for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds most of the time. That's 6 per minute. and suddenly all your cardiovascular autonomic rhythms. So these are the autonomic rhythms of the cardiovascular system. They all harmonize. So 6 breaths per minute is the formula. Whether you want to do it, what we call Sukha Pranayama. Sukha means comfortable. So comfortable breathing is just breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Even something as simple as that. Slow it down a bit to make it 5, 5. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what I tell people is we want 6 per minute. Why not make it 6 in, 6 out and speed it up so that you are counting slightly faster than the tick tock on your clock. So normal breathing, how we teach our patients, care seekers, clients, we call them patients. I know the word client is used. For us, still client is a legal term between a lawyer and the client. So we don't use clients for our patients in India. We call them patients. Now we are starting to use care seekers. I think care seeker is a beautiful word. We are a caregiver, they are a care seeker, and there are caretakers. So I think care seeker, caregiver, caretaker, this, because caring is the fundamental aspect of healing. All healing needs caring. So without caring, there's no healing. Simple. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And at this pattern, if the person breathes for 5 minutes, you check the blood pressure, it has come down by a significant number. Astonishing what it does. Astonishing. It sounds like a miracle, and yes, it happens. Now, the moment you can harmonize your cardiovascular rhythms, all the rhythms of the heart, which influence atrial fibrillation, ventricular ectopics, the rhythms are harmonized also. And we have a couple of publications on how just this slow, deep breathing, no complicated stuff, no complicated ratios, just what I was telling you now. And immediately you start to find that the ectopics disappear and the person comes into a normal sinus rhythm. We have again found that this type of breathing, lying down in Shavasana on your back, at the end of 10 minutes, has improved the cardiac ejection, the output in people who have heart failure. So even in people whose hearts have started to fail, lying down in Shavasana and doing deep breathing is actually helping them. By helping the person relax, you are actually helping the heart to function better. And a simple way to understand this, the faster your heart goes, the more unhealthy it's going to be. So the moment you slow down your heart rate, you are going to give more time for your heart to function optimally. Slowing down the heart rate is important to help optimal heart function, whatever be the condition. How do you slow down the heart rate? The simplest way is slow down your breath. The moment you slow down your breath, the heart rate is going to slow down. And if you want to make it even more specific, prolong the exhalation. The moment the exhalation phase is prolonged, you are recruiting the vagal tone. The most important, nowadays everybody is talking about it, the polyvagal theory. This is ancient wisdom in, new boxes. Pranayama is the best way to recruit the vagal impulses. Because the moment you breathe out, you extend your breathe out, your heart rate slows down automatically. Now, if I tell you breathe in for 4 and breathe out for 8, and we do say breathe in 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a pattern you would use. 4 in, 8 out, or 3 in, 6 out. You may start with 3, 6 because especially if they are care seekers, they may not be in the best physical condition. So you have to start slower. Sometimes we go into intensive care units, post-surgery rehabilitation units, and we give them deep breathing. And it's astonishing the benefits. You can get them out of that, sterile, uncaring environment, get them out of there as soon as possible, get them home as soon as possible, they'll heal. The longer you stay in the hospital, the less you're going to heal. Okay, so slow down the breathing, prolong the exhalation, and the best way is add sound to it. So the moment I say breathe in, and then I say breathe out, I can go on and on and on, because the moment I add sound to it, it's very easy to prolong the exhalation. So it doesn't matter what sound you use. Bhavanani, one of the most amazing researchers in Italy, he is with the Finnish University. He showed yogic mantras and chanting the Ave Maria. The Ave Maria chant and yogic mantras, the rosary, both helped to bring the cardiovascular rhythms into normalcy. Because the moment you chant, you are prolonging the exhalation. The moment you chant, you are prolonging the exhalation. The prolongation of exhalation brings the heart rate down, slows down the heart, and now the heart has ample time to do the work it needs to do. You have just bought it some more time. So I hope that answers your question, because I've tried to go straight to the mechanism.
Do you work with the pause very much?
We don't use too much of the pause initially, because what we find is when people are not too well, they get a bit scared to hold the breath. So when you talk to people about holding the breath and they are not well, people are like, what if I die? You know, you are triggering the survival instinct in people when you have to hold the breath, because they are scared, will I get to breathe in and breathe out the next round? You know, so what we do is simple in and out initially. Then once you have the confidence, we start to introduce small pauses between the in and the out, and then between the out and the in. And we do what is called Savitri Pranayama. It's a very beautiful practice where you breathe in for 6 counts, hold for 3, that is half the duration, breathe out for 6, and hold for 3. So it is like a rectangle. People talk about square breathing, which is also effective. This is more like a rectangle, because the held in and held out is half the time. So what we find is people are more comfortable doing this because it is more physiological. Physiologically, normally when you breathe in and breathe out, there are pauses between the inhalation and exhalation. So this is sort of helping the normal physiology, the homeostatic equilibrium to manifest. So we use the Savitri Pranayama, which is a technique of our tradition. Savitri relates to the sun, the solar energy, the healing energy of the solar Savitri, which becomes a chant called the Gayatri. Savitri and Gayatri are synonyms for the same early morning energies that come with the sun. And this is a life-giving pranayama. And we have done work showing your heart function, your oxygen consumption, your metabolic rate goes down by just doing 10 minutes of this breathing, lying down in Shavasana. So we do a lot of work with this as the second part of the training. The first part is always just in and out, get people's confidence. The second thing is when you have people lie down in your yoga session, we have had a lot of work with psychiatry. That is our primary sort of catchment area in the hospital. What I like to say is psychiatry is the, I don't know what you call it in America. We call it the trash bin. I think you would call it a trash bin. When you don't know where to put something, you just put it in it. So psychiatry is the trash bin of the medical hospital. When they don't know what to do with someone, they send them to psychiatry. Okay, this is how modern medicine works. You don't know what to do with a person, say it's in the head and send them to psychiatry. Now, what does psychiatry do in our hospital? When they don't know what to do with people, they send them to yoga therapy.
Ah,
So we are the trash bin of psychiatry, and so we get a lot of referrals. They say we don't know what to do with this person, so why don't you try something? And it's astonishing. But the most important rule when you deal with people who have mental health issues, do not try to make them relax with the eyes closed. Do not. Let them first relax with the eyes open. It is the most important thing we found, because initially when we started off our work, as you normally do, you say lie down, close your eyes and start to relax and breathe. We do all that. And we check people's blood pressure and heart rate before every yoga session and after every yoga session. We have published a huge amount of data how even one yoga session can change the cardiovascular parameters. So we were doing it. We said, why is it these people, the blood pressure is going up after the yoga session? In other people, it's going down. Why is it going up? So we started to talk to these people who came from psychiatry, and they said, well, at the yoga class, we were good, but then you had us lie down with the eyes closed, and we were scared something bad was going to happen to us because the mind was in overdrive. Okay, so the mind was in overdrive, and you said lie down with your eyes closed. The mind went into hyperdrive, and so the blood pressure started to go up. They started to get tense instead of relaxing. So we have now made it part of our standard operating procedures here that especially with people who are referred from psychiatry, the first few sessions, let them relax with the eyes open, get used to you, get used to the place they are in, and then they themselves will start relaxing with the eyes closed. And this is very, very relevant to the most hot topic in North America, yoga and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Dealing with PTSD, please don't try to have them close the eyes in your first few sessions. Let them do the practices, even relaxation with eyes open, until they are at ease with themselves. And then you start to introduce the eyes closed, or even let them close the eyes when they feel comfortable. So just a few sharing from our experience.
I mean, if you could ever describe somebody who was a walking encyclopedia about all the things that we want to know about it would be this man. And I always try to do something different each time when he talks. But this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part of the lecture with him, and I'm going to make it into an email of all of our graduates, not just Facebook or something like that. I'm going to send it to all of the people who have graduated from the Prime of Life and the Yoga Therapy RX program, because this man deserves to be heard. And how many people in the world have this background? MD, yogi, Ayurveda, the legend from his father, the legacy of his mother, and to be an example as a family man at the same time. And then on top of all of that, he's a master musician and singer, and his daughter is a songbird. So it's just, it's such a gift whenever we have him. And I don't know how much time he has for one more, or if this should be the time. I leave it to you, sir.
I have all the time in the world for you.
Oh my God.
I will never say time up to you. And anything anything I am today is because of my parents.
Yeah.
Because they are the ones responsible. I tell my mother, she had a stroke 8 months ago and is bedridden, and I'm taking care of her at home. And every day I spend 2 hours singing for her.
Wow.
And every day when I'm singing for her and we have a wonderful conversation, At that time, I keep on reminding her that anything I am is because of her and how fortunate I am to be her son. And thank her for this opportunity to give something back to her, to serve her, and express my love, not as a return, but as a gesture of my heart offering for all the love she has given me in my life. And I tell her, I have known you as a son knows his mother. I have known you as a student knows his teacher because she's been my teacher, she's been my mother. And now I know you as a devotee knows God. Love you as a son, love you as a student, and now love you as a devotee. Because more and more I see that divine shining through her. So even in this testing time, she is teaching me. She has taught me more in the last 8 months than she taught me in the previous 48 plus years of my life. So anything, any good compliments, share it back with my father and mother, and especially my mother because she is a Wonder Woman. She is a Wonder Woman without the costume. Yes, I think we had a question coming up.
Well, you've brought a lot of us to tears, brother, over just who you are, and I have an interesting question for you. Is there anything that you see in American yoga that you think is very weird that we do here?
You mean there's something that's not weird?
And he's a comedian.
Oh my god.
You know, I I think that one of the few things that's not weird is you.
Oh, come on.
You stand out like a sore thumb in the weird North American yoga industry. Okay, anyway, that was just to give you a one-liner. I have recently given a huge talk on culturally appropriate yoga, and currently I'm giving finishing touches on an ebook on it to help people understand what things are and to also make sure that people don't misuse, because there's a tendency for people to misuse this term when they don't like somebody. And so you don't like somebody, and so you use this term. So I've also tried to give a huge angle there. But I'll just come to it. Many years ago, I came to California, and that was the first time Larry and I met, thanks to Antonio's yoga therapy conference. And when I came, my mother, she didn't want to really send me back to America because my mother was born in, Minnesota, Minneapolis. And so after coming to India, I think she went back once or twice, and then she said, I'm not going back to America again. And the most important time it helps me is when I'm crossing the border from Canada to USA. And these guys, they always have the lowest of the specimens of humanity put on our borders. So there's always, it doesn't matter which country it is. We find the worst specimens of our nation, put them on the borders to scare people. And this guy is like, I'm not going to let you get in. I was teaching at Kripalu and I was driving down from Montreal. And he was really nasty to me, really nasty. And then he went in and came out and he was so nice to me. It was like the devil became an angel. And I'm like, what happened to him? He said, was your mother born in America? I said,
Yeah.
yes. I said, yes. He said, we consider you an American, so you can go and do whatever you want. I said, thank you, but I'm happy being Indian. So I don't think he was too happy about it, but he let me through. And I said, well, to be considered by American border officials, American enough to get through the border, I think that's a good one because my passport is Indian. Let me get back to the topic. When I came, my mother, after a lot of reluctance, sent me to America. And I must tell you, I came anticipating the worst. Okay, I came anticipating the worst. And I was surprised at the amazing good quality of people, good quality of teachings that I witnessed. So I would like to put this out because it's very easy to say, oh, America has spoiled yoga. That people like to jump into those political statements. But what I would say is there are amazing people. There are amazing people doing amazing work. And I have been astounded at the quality of work that is being done by many people. Many of them have become very close friends of mine. And the work, Larry, you have been doing, the work that you have seeded at LMU. And so many of the people who have come out of LMU and the two visits that LMU came to India, and I interacted with so many there. It has been mind opening to see the depth of sincerity and dedication that is there in so many people. So what I find is that there are a huge number of people in North America who want to understand yoga in its wholesomeness. But what has happened is many of the yoga gurus who went abroad gave people, small bits and pieces. And so those small bits and pieces have been taken to be yoga rather than understanding the wholesomeness. And I put a lot of the blame on many of the yoga teachers who went abroad, because they, in order to sell the product that they were selling for their own gain, they did not give people the wholesome picture. And a lot of people are ready for it. I have been giving a training over the last year, and there are about 160 people doing it with me online, of which about 100 are Westerners and about 30 of them are from North America. And the quality of work that they have been submitting is amazing. The depth of self-analysis and self-reflection they are submitting is astounding. And the dedication to attending sessions, the dedication to keeping up a practice is amazing. So what I feel is that America, I think, is now ready to have the bigger picture of yoga and not just asana, because we have made a big mistake where asana has become yoga. So I think a lot of changes are coming, a lot of positive changes. And there will be this huge industry which thrives on what I call Barbie doll plastic yoga. And that will be there. That will be there. But there are many looking for gold. There are many looking for diamonds. There are many looking for platinum, which is the real yoga. So I am very optimistic about yoga in North America. I am very optimistic, in fact. And over the last few years, the interactions with many people, I feel there are a lot of people who are seeking, a lot of people who are now understanding the depth. Yoga is an ocean. Why limit yourself to a puddle? So people are ready for the ocean now.
Wow, beautiful. Well, I think that we've covered a lot in this time, and I have it recorded, and I'm going to share it. And also, if you have follow-up for Anandaji, we'll have his email. So you want to be in contact, and if anybody interested in his training programs and the many things he has online, I'll try to give you all these things. I'll include it in the newsletter that I send out to our email list. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for always giving so much and for always being such a bright light. I mean, we just don't have somebody with this combination of knowledge and roots and background and dedication anywhere. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, sir. And I look forward to sending out this announcement to all of our graduates and postgraduates. God
Thank
bless.
you,
Thank
Dr. Ananda.
you. Thank you so much, Larry.
Thank you.
You're all most welcome to send me a friend request on Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook. Every day, Indian time, 10 o'clock, which is about 4 hours from now, I do a global prayer. We are into about, I think today must be the 35th day of it. a short 10 minutes prayer for the humanity. And every Saturday, I do a scintillating Saturdays session, which is live on Facebook. And for me, the motto is sharing is caring. And I care a lot about humanity. So I try to share as much as I can, as long as I can. Because the more we share, the more we care, the more we care, the more we share. And so, welcome to connect with me in whatever way you want. I'm always just on the other side of the computer. I'm not too far away. Love you so much, Larry.
Love
And
you so much, dear brother.
Thank you.
Surindra
Thanks
a
for us,
pleasure,
Justin.
Surindra to meet you again. And I appreciate Surindra a lot and his work with pranayama, which is such a beautiful work he does. And just your whole team is such a lovely team, Larry. What a beautiful yoga family, an extended yoga family I have in North America, thanks to you. So
You can
thank you
always,
for being,
always start right here, brother. Thank
thank
you
you for
so
being in
much.
my life. Means a
God
lot.
bless you and your family. Thank you, sir.